Hey, it's Jason with Threefold Solutions again, bringing you another quick little update from Planning Center. This time it's in people, and I want to share with you a new opportunity that you can make available to your congregation so they can start to update their own profile information and help you stay in sync with that email address, that phone number, and now custom fields. And so now we have the ability inside a planning center to make certain custom fields available for your congregants to update information directly into so that you can always be in sync and serve them better based on the information you're able to now gather. Now, it's not always been easy in the past. Sometimes we had to do this with a form, and we would ask people to fill out the form and make sure we have their latest, greatest information so that they don't fall through the cracks. And we always make sure we're able to communicate with them. But you've got some new options, and I want to show you those today and make sure you know how to use them so you can start a brand new process of getting your congregation to keep their profile information up to date so you don't have to work so hard to do this. Now, granted, not everybody participates in this, and sometimes you have to try it a couple times to get a little higher rate of participation. But once you've started the wheel spinning and got that machine running, I do believe people will start to provide little updates here and there, and this just helps in all kinds of different ways. But before we jump into that video, give us a like, comment on this video. Let us know if this is a feature that you love or don't love. Tell us why you may like it, why you may not. I love to get your comments, even your questions. And by the way, subscribe to the channel, share it with somebody. We make these videos because we love to help people use Planning Center and use it a little bit better. So enough about that. Let's jump into that video now. Okay, we're looking at people now. I'm going to jump right in here to the people menu. Go ahead and click there. And of course, go for the sprocket because I always say, when you see the little sprocket on any Planning Center app, that's where your background settings are found. So hopefully you've got permissions to see this. You will have to be at least an org admin or a manager. Let's go down here and take a look at Church Center settings. This is where this is now found. And you'll see it's a little different. If you visited this before, there's a few extra options here now. Over here on the left, we have something called Congregant Profile Permissions. And there's even a share profile link here, which we'll talk about in just a second. But down below here, you've got your first option. You can now allow congregants to add or remove household members. Now, I've seen it before, time and time again. We've got extra people in the household, maybe a family member, a cousin, a relative has come to visit. Maybe we've checked them in or signed them up for something and they end up in our household. We'd like to keep that clean. So now if you want to, you don't have to do this, but you've got the opportunity to provide your congregants a way to keep their household up to date now by adding or removing people. Now, that's also kind of nice when maybe they're new to the church and they didn't add everybody. They might want to add their spouse. Maybe there's actually another adult family member that they'd like to add to the household. You've got that option if you want to leave this on. Now, right below that is some new stuff, and this is what we're talking about, built-in profile fields, and down below that, custom profile fields. And what you can see here is we now have permissions on each of these areas. So if you want to make that profile photo editable, you can click on the little pencil and you can say in the dropdown, can edit, can add if blank, or can view only, and you don't want them to change it. That option is now available all the way down this list for any of these fields. That applies to birthday, grade, campus, membership type. These are fantastic. Now notice here, if I were to choose campus, it's either hidden or they can edit, they can add if it's blank, or they can view only. Now, sometimes we like to ask people, hey, we've got a church with multiple campuses within a 15-minute radius. I'd love to know which one you consider your home campus. And that's a great way to give them an opportunity to set this. If you're a single campus church without other campuses, don't worry about it. It won't even be an issue. You won't have to use that. But these are things that you can make available based on these new permissions, and you can choose whether or not they actually get to change it, or if it's missing, they can add it. So there's a little flexibility there, but here's what I'm really excited about. We now have the ability to add some custom fields. So I've thrown a couple up here that I think would be very valuable. We've got one called graduation year. That's kind of a handy one if you want somebody to actually update that for you on behalf of their children. They can do that now on the profile through a custom field. The way this works is you can add a field, go to your custom tabs, and in this case, I'm going to use important dates. And then that's where I've got some additional fields. And one of those here is like a training scenario. Now, sometimes these trainings that we can take with Ministry Safe or other things automatically update, but sometimes they don't. And if this is something that somebody is filling out and taking on their own and letting you know they've taken it, we go and we verify that. Now we've got an opportunity to say, if you've done this before, please put that information in here for us. And maybe that's a date. And they can actually put that in there and maybe provide you with some additional information, but they can update that field. Now, I've got a few others here like church information. Sometimes you may have something here like an occupation, and you would like somebody to fill out that occupation and let you know what it is. Other times it could be something like a baptism date, or it could be a salvation date. You can now add those here and ask people to fill that in for you, which then allows you to run a list later and basically see who has a baptism date, who has a salvation or a decision for Christ date. And that just allows you to know your people a little bit better. So I love this. I love the idea that you can even strategize with this a little bit. You can come up with some new fields that you might like to utilize. Sometimes we ask people to take a spiritual gifts test or a strength finders type of test. If you give them a checkbox or you give them an opportunity in your custom fields, you can now make that available on their profile and they can fill in the results for you. That's huge, huge deal here. I love this. So that's how you add them. Obviously, you can assign different permissions depending on how you want them to fill this out or give them the opportunity to change it or not. And then right up here back at the top where we talked about sharing a link, you can now share a link by copying this URL, or you can do the good old QR code. Maybe you're having a class and you'd like people to update their information. This would be a great opportunity to put on a slide, put a little QR code there and ask people to snap it with their phones, visit their profile in Church Center, and you're going to lead them directly to it. So give this a look. I think this is a huge, huge little update that's in the background, but can have big results. All right, that's it for this update. We'll see you on the next one.